they wouldn't be able to do it. They would have to like focus in on like one or two, a few scenes. You know, you can't really like take the whole life cycle as we see, but maybe like a few key moments. Then it would be a good movie. But yeah, I mean that's just the beauty. That's one of the beauties that we talk about in fiction, right? It's you can traverse so much time so fluidly, and in this book, and we'll start talking about the summary, the the plot summary, but it's not even like a lesser author, which is basically everyone, and especially Dan and I, would be like explicitly say that time has passed, like, and now he's in fifth grade. Maybe not as direct as that, but more or less, we would like explain to the reader that he's in fifth grade, and in this book, he's just older. Like, just things have moved, and you're like, oh, I think he's, now he's more interested in girls and things like that. So you're like, okay, you get this sense of how old he is. And at the end of the book, and this was a point of difficulty for me, I couldn't figure out if he was an old man or if he was just like a young man acting like an old man, and I was like kind of confused by that. But we'll talk more about that. So why don't you launch into
He's
like
still
a little bit of
young,
plot?
but you're right.
Yeah,
Like we'll talk about one of the things that people take issue with this book is
walking
that at
stick.
16, yeah, at 16, 17, whatever years old, Stephen Dedalus talks like he's a 70-year-old philosopher.
Yeah,
So
it was
similar,
still good though. Yeah.
similar, yeah. I mean, this happens a lot, and like there's that whole era of kind of the university novel, and A Secret History is a great example of this, which I know you read before me and I read a little bit earlier this year, where the characters also speak like they're 50 years old and are obsessed with their own maturity and their own worldliness. And Stephen Dedalus definitely puts on the same kind of airs.
What did you think about that book?
Secret History by Don Tart. Did you like it?
I really liked it. Yeah, is
Okay.
one of like more entertaining books I've read. I thought it was
Okay.
super well
Sure, I
done.
thought you might not like it for a second, but I thought it was great. That's a tangent, but I definitely would recommend that. Apart from
Yeah,
Portrait, that's a really good book. All right,
yeah.
let's jump into the plot. Part one of five, I think, parts in this book.
Yeah, so each part is very like these are long chapters and they're very kind of self-contained with a theme, each of them. Um, this is not a plot-driven book in your typical sense, which is why it would struggle to be a movie. You have to imagine what's so brilliant about this book is that we're tracing Stephen Dedalus's coming of age through a very personal lens. Imagine a camera following him around that is exposed to all of his emotions, all of his the different ways he feels about certain things happening in his life. When he's going through something really hard, the writing actually changes. When something's easier and something's exciting or sensuous, then the writing mirrors how he's feeling. So that is the brilliance of this book. In fact, in the introduction I read again, they called this book out as the first example of a novel where every sentence and every word was consciously and very specifically placed. And that's the old, I don't know if it's an apocryphal story, but there's that line that Joyce wrote 7 words or whatever. And his friend said, oh, that you did a great job. You wrote 7 words. And Joyce goes, I just don't know what order they should go in yet.